Money Radio, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. It's time to talk real estate with Laura Bramnick from talkrealestateaz.com. That's the website, talkrealestateaz.com. And Laura Bramnick is an attorney and a real estate agent. She is licensed through the State Bar of Arizona and specializes in real estate. She holds an active Arizona real estate license. She's been a real estate investor over the years, an instructor with the Arizona Department of Real Estate, certified. For more information, 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705, or visit talkrealestateaz.com. And that's a great combination. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Sinclair.
It's a great combination. You can help someone with the real estate transaction, but most real estate agents in Arizona are not attorneys.
That's true. That's true. And, sometimes it's very helpful to have somebody that's well-versed in both areas. There are certain situations that you need a lawyer, and it's more helpful if they have a real estate background.
If everything just goes completely smoothly all the time, it's not a big deal.
Correct.
But when there's the littlest problem, it can be a huge problem in real estate.
Yes, it can create a lot of damages.
And as an example of this, we were talking last week about people who have undergone a short sale or a foreclosure, and they may not realize it, but we were talking about the Debt Relief Act and how that had been extended. Some people will receive a 1099-C for taxes.
Yes.
And they didn't realize that that could happen following a foreclosure or short sale.
Correct.
There are a lot of things that can happen after a foreclosure that people may not expect, and a lot of that goes back to structuring the transaction properly to begin with.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, and that when you have a foreclosure, what many people don't know is that the statute of limitations to be sued for deficiencies is only 90 days. And that's unusual because most of our statute of limitations are longer than that.
Sure.
So if you borrowed money from a bank, let's say, and you don't have deficiency protection, let's say your property was more than 2.5 acres,
Mm-hmm.
or you bought vacant land,
Okay.
they're the biggest they're the biggest number of lawsuits that I see.
Okay.
And the banks can be very aggressive about it. And then you get served, and you try to negotiate with the bank. Maybe you even see a lawyer, and the lawyer says, look, you owe this money, make the best deal you can. But I'm running into people being sued, and they only have 20 to 30 days to file their response. If you're served in Arizona, you have 20 days. If you're served outside of Arizona, 30 days. And it's a lot of times not enough time to negotiate a settlement. So now you've got to incur a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
to hire a lawyer to defend you in a lawsuit where your defense is limited because technically you owe the money.
So you owe, and also there are a lot of times where, not on a primary residence, but on other real estate,
Right.
where you may have partners involved.
Yeah, and I'm seeing lots of cases where people got together who were not that familiar with the real estate market. They just felt
Mm-hmm.
every piece of land in Arizona was going to increase in price at some point in time. We had such a boom that people really felt that nothing could go wrong if they invested in real estate. And what's happened is that especially land has tanked terribly.
Right.
And people are not just a few $1,000s underwater. Many people are underwater by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe their property is worth 10% of what they paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can't even give it away. Because the taxes
Right.
the taxes and the costs of maintaining some of the property is worth more than the property itself.
Mm-hmm.
In the long term. So, and then if you have partners and you didn't really, because you thought to yourself, nothing can go wrong, we're only going to have to split profits, you never discuss what happens if you have to split liability.
And even then, some folks are thinking, well, it would only be maybe a half liability
Exactly.
or a third liability. But that doesn't always work out that way.
No, when people bought property together, and I'm assuming in this case they didn't have cash, so they got a mortgage, they got a loan from a bank, and then the property went underwater, and they couldn't afford the mortgage payments anymore, and maybe one party lost his job and filed bankruptcy. So now this debt is included in the bankruptcy, but now the mortgage company or the lender can go after the other partners. And if you're the partner, if you're the only partner with assets,
Deep pockets.
you're the deep pocket, and it feels very unfair. But one of the reasons the bank requires all the owners, all the people on title to be on the loan is so they can go after each of you or all of you. Because the banks have experienced where one party may file bankruptcy, where one party maybe has no assets. And so they have to cut their own losses. But when you buy it, a lot of times you're not thinking about what are we going to do if we go underwater.
This is where it's so important to structure a transaction properly from the very beginning.
And if you have assets, you cannot protect them at the 11th hour. If you have assets, you have to protect them as soon as possible after you acquire them, because that is the key to keeping the assets from being levied upon if you get in a situation where you have an investment that goes bad and you get sued.
It's very important, and you can help through the whole process. You help through the negotiation,
Yes.
making sure that it is properly structured, because you've seen this over time. You know that these things are possibilities, so you help protect your clients from that.
And the other thing is, if you have assets, your ability to file bankruptcy is extremely limited.
Right?
And so you have like a double whammy. You can't file bankruptcy, and you're the one left holding the bag. And it can be very painful and very frustrating.
And I would imagine a lot of friendships have gone down the drain as a result of
Yes,
this.
a lot of friendships. And now, doesn't mean you can't sue the other people, although you can't sue anybody in your partnership who's filed bankruptcy. But if somebody doesn't have assets, your chances of getting paid back are very small.
Get it right the first time.
It's important.
We've said this many times, and it's very true. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes. You know, when you're getting into an area where you don't have experience, it's worth it to get a consultation from an attorney to figure out what the downside could be.
And if you'd like a consultation with Laura Bramnick, call 480-624-2705. 480-624-2705. And yes, Laura does answer her own phone. 480-624-2705. And the website for more info, talkrealestateaz.com. talkrealestateaz.com. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Sinclair.